Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it, and I want to start by saying a big thank you to everyone for the messages and the well wishes. As a few of you know, I was feeling very under the weather the past 6 or 7 days. Last week, I had the stomach bug that kicked in, and oh my God, whew, it took me down pretty hard. So I'm feeling much better. I got to get my energy levels back up, which I'm close. I'm about 80%. So, but thank you to everyone. That was very kind of everyone. And you know, when I got sick, I had to laugh the fact that the last video I posted was the short documentary on the Pittsfield Cemetery. And for those of you that have seen it, the ending scene of that is all that kept going through my head when I got sick like that. And I thought, oh God, I shouldn't have put that in there. And then in the middle of being sick, my phone, somebody called me. I always try to answer my phone if I can. And I answered it, and I heard, Michael? And I said, yeah, yes. And it was my ex-wife, who I haven't talked to in a long time, a year or more. And I thought, oh God, I've died, and I'm being punished for something. But it ended up, she was just checking on me for some weird reason, just a coincidence, and everything worked out. But again, that last scene in the video about the cemetery also, I thought, oh, I shouldn't have put that in there. That was funny to me. So anyway, I am feeling much better, and thank you again to everyone. Thank you so much to everyone who's helped out with the GoFundMe. I'm really pleased with where that is, and a lot of people also contacted me and asked if they could mail me a donation, which they did, and I'm just overwhelmed by the support. It's been huge, and I can't thank everyone enough, because you know, to do this, it does cost a lot of money, and every video I do for like a business or something like that, I put anywhere from 10, 15, 20 bucks behind each of those to make sure when you have a business page, you have to boost, and to get the posts seen, really. You really need to do that to get them out there. So that's what I use a lot of that money for. And then, of course, the gear that I've went through doing this, there's quite a few things I've had to replace. So bottom line is thank you to everyone. It has been a huge help, and I'm going to leave that GoFundMe up. It's pinned on the top of the page still, and I'm going to leave that up for probably another 7 days or so. So thank you, everyone, again, really. And speaking of businesses, I want to say that I was very saddened to see that Flavors of Malaysia on North Street, they're located at 75 North Street, announced yesterday that they would be closing their doors permanently at the end of December. And basically, due to the coronavirus, due to the pandemic, it has hurt them so much that it's put them in that position. And, you know, the owners of Flavors, Chen and Sabrina, are great people who have been there and stepped up for this community over and over and over. It's like they're the type of people who almost say no to, or never say no to anybody. And it's very sad to see a business that has been just an integral part of the community, and they care about Pittsfield, and they care about the people here, and they care about community. You hate to see that happen to them. So if you haven't eaten at Flavors in a while, order some takeout. You know, they're open till the end of December. Let's support them as much as we can. And I just want to see that. Maybe we can flood them with enough business that we can change their mind somehow. You know, I don't know if that's possible, but either way, they're going to be there till the end of December, and let's show them how much we appreciate them. And I know a lot of people do. So, and I'm going to do another video for them also. So on that note, the pizza places that I started with that post about a week and a half ago, and I started posting different photos of all our local pizza places. And then I decided, when I saw the popularity of those posts, that I was going to, at the end of that, I wanted to do a free advertisement, a free video for each of them. And the order that I would do them is based on how many likes those posts were getting. So, and then I was going to do all of them regardless. And I'm still going to do that. Well, I started building some templates for those the other day, and getting ready to start getting the videos done. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to call these pizza places, all of our Pittsfield ones, and I'm going to see if I can run down, if they want to just let me film real quick and get some photos inside. Because look, every single one of these places are great, and they all have their own little niche of what makes them special. And I think the best way to showcase that is to go down there and kind of highlight that by maybe talking to one of the owners or, the manager, or however they want to do that, and doing just a short 60 to second to minute and a half video with them, and build this directory on the itspittsfieldtonight.com on the website that will highlight. So when you want to go get pizza, you can be able to look on there and, play the quick videos, and that, I think it would help a lot. So I really want to do that for them, and then I'm going to boost them through Facebook and Instagram and start adding all those to the YouTube channel also. So it'll be the website and then through social media, and I'm going to do this for free for all of them. And I'm able to do that again because of all the people that have helped out with the fundraiser. And then after the pizza places, I'm going to move on to restaurants. And after restaurants, I'm going to move on to whatever, till we cover every Pittsfield business and build a really cool video directory on the website that'll be for all of them. So, but I'm going to start making some phone calls on that today. And within the next couple days, you'll start seeing some videos for those pop up. So, again, getting sick just kind of threw all that off. Another thing that I needed to talk about, I feel the need to talk about, is as of yesterday, the moratorium on evictions expired. So as of yesterday, Monday, landlords can now file for eviction for people for unpaid rent. And that is a two-headed coin. And what I mean by that is, I know there are people that lost jobs, that were affected greatly by this, that have not been able to pay their rent. But there's also a large group of people that have been able to pay their rent and chose not to because they were protected under that, and they knew they didn't have to. And then what ended up happening is the landlords were not getting paid. I got contacted by an individual who's a landlord, and he has a duplex. He bought a duplex and rented out the other side, and that's how he pays his mortgage. This isn't some, everybody thinks landlord, and they think some, big wealthy person somewhere who just rents all these apartments out, and that's far from the case in many situations. But he hasn't gotten paid rent since March, and he told me, look, when the last stimulus came out, I watched them carry in a great big new TV, and then a week or two later, like, new furniture for their living room was coming in, and here he is not getting paid rent. So the state, and I think with some assistance from the feds, they're working on that. I won't get into national stuff on this page, as everyone knows. But the state is trying to come up with creative solutions on how to address this issue, and whether it be rental assistance that they do it with through the landlords working with the tenants, where it's done that way. They're going to have to come up with something, because this is a disaster in the making, and everyone knew this was coming. And that also leads to another massive problem that we have in Pittsfield, and that's people living in homelessness. And I'm going to touch on that briefly, but it is directly related, because once these evictions start to go through, you're going to see an increase in that if they can't get their hands around that problem. And we've already seen an increase. I know the mayor did an radio interview a week or a week and a half ago, and she was talking about how they're finally going to reopen the former St. Joseph's High School as an emergency shelter, and that it would be housing about 50 people is what she expected. I don't know where she's getting these numbers from, because I'm in constant contact with the advocates that work with, many advocates, not all of them, but that work with those in homelessness in the city, and they have hard numbers of about 100. So now I get, after I broke that story over the summer of what happened with the abrupt closing of that shelter, when it was being run as an emergency COVID shelter at the former St. Joseph's High School, I did that when I went to Springside Park and kind of saw what was going on and then put that story out there. I also put the story out there about their belongings being thrown away in the trash by ServiceNet, all that. And I don't regret breaking that story because it has brought this issue to the forefront, and it needs to stay there. That shelter at the former high school should have never been closed, ever. Now, I know the mayor, when that happened, put a statement out saying, well, the Diocese of Springfield evicted them. They told them they had to get out by August. That's not true. Not from the people I'm talking to. That's not true. And the diocese is saying, we didn't tell anyone they had to get out. They're saying that. They're saying we told them they could use that building until next year if they needed to, and further than that if need be, if this pandemic was still going on. So that whole scenario, there was a lot of untruths, we'll call them, being floated around. It should have never been closed. That's why that problem at Springside Park and other encampments throughout the city happened. I'm not going to harp on that, but I know if I didn't bring that story to the forefront, it wouldn't be being talked about at all. I know, and the mayor said in that radio interview she did about a week and a half ago, that ServiceNet has always been there throughout the years, and homeless encampments have been part of our landscape in the city, which is ridiculous to even refer to it that way. I think she's hired the great-great-great-nephew of Robert Frost or somebody to write her speeches. Sorry. But it irritated me because when I went into Springside Park that day, nobody had been there to talk to anybody. I mean, for her to say that these service providers have been there to make sure that all the people in all these encampments have always had everything they need. And when I walked through there that day, 6 or 7 days after that shelter was closed, and was seeing what I was seeing and hearing what I was hearing, not to mention we also had to call first responders in there for 2 people that were unresponsive. It was a disaster. And nobody had seen anybody. Not to mention how infuriated some of these people were that their belongings were in a dumpster. When they were told, no, we're going to put them in bags and bring them to Barton's Crossing for you. So I'm not going to try to relive that whole nightmare, but I hope there was lessons learned from that. So as they open the shelter the 1st of November, reopen it at St. Joseph's High School again, that is run completely different. And that for the people who need assistance with substance abuse counseling or to get into treatment or whatever they need to do, if ServiceNet is the true professionals, that they have the adequate staff to address those issues and get these people the help they need, not just say get out and go away, because you're doing no service to the community. I mean, they're supposed to be the professionals handling this. So I hope that whole situation is treated entirely differently. And I'm sure there's plenty of good people that work for ServiceNet, but that was a disaster, and I'm going to stay on top of that. We're still waiting on word on when the First United Methodist Church is going to be up and functioning, and will it be when that is up and going? Will Barton's Crossing on Upper North, will that be gone after that? Is it going to be that one replacing the other? What is happening with all this? So there's a lot to talk about on that and stay on top of that, because again, I think you're going to see an increase in homelessness, and we're definitely seeing an increase in drug use. We're seeing, I can't tell you what I mean, everyone sees it. I don't have to say I can't tell you. I mean, the politicians don't like to talk about it, but most people know if you drive around the city, you see what you see. The murder that we had, another young girl that was gunned down and killed. Still no statement. I haven't heard anything from the mayor, unless I missed something while I was sick. If this was an election year, oh man, all the politicians would be out there. But no, violence is continuing. Look at how many of these murders took the lives of young women. It's horrible, and it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. We can't allow this in our community anymore, any of this. So we need to unite as a community and start holding people accountable. And remember, next year is an election year for Pittsfield, and I hope there's a lot of people that are interested in running for the council and getting involved again. I want to see as many people as possible. I hear a lot of people talking and a lot of people that have messaged me, so I hope a lot of people follow through with that. It's time for change, and I think people see it nationwide, but regardless of all that, you see it here locally, and it's time for change, and it really is, and it's going to take new faces and new people to bring that change. The same old, it just ain't working anymore. It's not, because a lot of these problems have been going on for quite some time. Granted, the coronavirus, this pandemic, has flipped the whole world upside down, but many of these problems can't be blamed on that. And you'll hear that for an excuse constantly, I'm sure, from a lot of the politicians. But, regardless of their award-winning videos and all the stuff about telling us about news that happened a week or two prior to them putting the video out, we need to really start addressing this and engaging the public. We need to come together as a community for a lot of different things. So that's it for now. I'm going to cut it short. If that was short, I don't even know if it was. There's so much to talk about, but I needed to get this first video to get my toes back in the water and get moving again. I might even get another video up tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after. And thank you again to everyone. Again, the GoFundMe still pinned at the top of the page. Support your local businesses and get out and enjoy some of the nice weather we're going to have this week. And I will catch y'all in the next day or two.